Hey everybody, welcome to part 8 of building the HK 140H scale B-17 series. In part 8, we're going to do some restoration of the surface detail on the fuselage. We're going to attach the wings, we're going to attach the horizontal stabilizers, and we're going to do some clear part masking. So, let's get started. I've got the bottom done. I've got the panel lines rescribed. And then what I did was I used two layers of masking tape to set these lines with pencil, drafting pencil here, and then I used my handy punch to just do mild indentations, and the spacing doesn't have to be perfect. But once it's painted, there'll be a semblance of it. But yeah, it looks much better. So now, because when you even mild pressure push down on here, creates kind of a dimple around where the punch hole is. So the way to get rid of that is just to use some steel wool pads, which I'll do next, and then the bottom's done, and then I can I'll do the top here. I gotta polish the plastic all the way around here, and then I can pull off the tape and figure out how to deal with these panel lines. So see if I can make it look good. But the bottom came out okay. There we go. There we go. Forward you can see where I did those dimples. So let's go ahead and polish the bottom again and smooth out the plastic, and then move on to the next step. I've got all the panel lines rescribed that I wanted to rescribe, and it came out pretty good. Over here I did this one and this long one first, right along here, and my go-to is always thin strips of labeling tape, because they provide a good edge for a guide. And I took this blade off of the handle here because it was just easier to work with, and I did not rescribe this line. When I check my references, you really can't see this line. So what I did was I just, as best I could, completed the length of these engraved lines along the upper part of the fuselage, connected this engraved line to this one, and the same thing over here and over here, and then using the labeling tape as a guide, I carefully rescribed these. Now the ones on this side, there was nothing I could do about it. They don't line up because of the fit problem here. But once it's painted, I'll go ahead and put a little bit of surface weathering here, and that'll fix that problem. And I also used these double layers of masking tape, which I would put like right there, and it would act as a stop for the blade edge as I cut down through the plastic along here. The hard part is keeping these straight, and there's no easy way to do this. You just have to practice getting these straight. If you take your time, it'll work out okay. Now, the other thing I did was I used 2 layers of masking tape as a guide, and I made all of these lines here along I used the existing lines for the indented rivets to create these lines and replace the rivet detail in these areas here where I lost it due to having to fix these seams here. So I'm going to go ahead and I'll use my handy puncher and go ahead and do some rivet detail, and then I will use this steel wool pad to kind of smooth everything out, and then clean it up and check it, and then I think I can go ahead and glue the wings and the horizontal stabilizers in place. So we're getting there, but man, this is a lot of work to do this. And I've said this several times in these latter videos, you shouldn't have to be doing this level of work with a kit that costs this much, using all of this new tooling and technology today. But there you have it, and we'll get it done. I've done as much restoration of the rivet detail and panel line detail as I can. When I started putting pressure with the my pin vise for making the rivets, it cracked right here along this seam line, and on this right along here it cracked. And I think that's because this piece has got a flat surface and this piece has got a flat surface, but they're not sitting like this, they're sitting just on the edge like this, and that's what caused the crack. So I got it repaired. I put a bead of super glue here and then quickly wiped it with a Q-tip, and then smoothed it out with one of these right here. But this is as much as I can do. So now I got to be careful. I can't put any pressure on this at all, or it's going to crack again. So I'm going to go ahead and see if I can get the wings on without putting any pressure on this. I've got the main wings and the horizontal stabilizers glued in place, and main wings were, even with all of the sanding and carving I did on the insides of the wings, it was still very difficult to get these to slide into place correctly. And there is a seam here that once I prime it, I'll be able to fill these with some white glue, and hopefully that'll alleviate the area here. Now the other thing is this lock system is fairly tight, but because of the changes and modifications that I made, once I got it in place, it slid around a little bit. So I put a tiny bead of super glue, just a few drops on the upper side and on the bottom. But I did get it to mostly match the surface of the fuselage. There's a little bit here, but I think once I get like I said, the surface primed and some white glue in here, it's going to be hard to show, hard to see. Now on the underside, I need to be careful here, and well, let me mention this before I get going. When I turn it over, I got to put this on here because I don't want to put any weight on this upper piece and cause these seams to crack again. So I got to do this. On the underside of the main wing, pretty much the same thing. Got a little bit more. It's about a 32nd of an inch here that it's raised above, but I think once I hit it with some glue, it'll be okay. This side is a little bit better. And again, I put a tiny drop of super glue here and here just to hold everything in place. Now, on the tail, and well, one more thing. Those gaps are going to have to be filled with some white glue on both sides. So We'll see how that goes. Now, the tail, horizontal stabilizers, they only go in one way. Okay, the holes are slightly off so that you don't mix them up. And of course, these control surfaces, the elevators were cloth covered, and there's no representation of the cloth cover. The trim tabs on both the rudder and the elevators, there's no trim tab detail. The top fit fairly tight together. I don't think I need to do anything here on these. Let me get this up to the camera a little bit closer. Now on the bottom, it's a different story. On the bottom, we got a gap on both sides. And what I'm going to do is, after I prime it, I believe I can fill that gap with 2 or 3 applications of white glue, and it'll be good enough. I'm not going to mess with it. It's not worth it. So there's a close-up of the front. Let me turn it so that you can see that. A little bit of a step, about a 32nd of an inch or less, but I'm not going to mess with it. I got to tell you, the whole monogram kit, the wings fit together better onto the fuselage. And here's the top. So next step, I'll go ahead and glue the glass in place and do all of the masking I need to do, and then we can start putting finished coats on it. I'm gonna give it a complete coat of the underside color as a primer, and that'll be a flat gray with some flat white added to lighten it up a little bit. And then I can go ahead and mask it and do the upper olive drab, and then do these landing light areas here, the zinc chromate green. I also have to get the cowlings taped on and then marked so I know which one is which when I do all of the masking. And then I can do the masking for the boot stripes. So yeah, it's coming along. Got a long way to go in terms of masking, but we'll see how it goes. I haven't thrown it against the wall yet. And I know that reading comments on YouTube, a lot of modelers have gotten very, very frustrated with this kit. So hopefully, if you follow the techniques that I've developed, you can get it to this point, and should be smooth sailing after this, but we'll see. I expect all the clear parts are going to fit together quite nicely on here. And what I'm going to do is just white glue them in place. And white glue is pretty strong. It'll hold everything in place. So there you have it. I've got some of the clear parts masked, and now I'm ready to glue these into place. And with these, I'll use tiny drops of medium set super glue here, here, just a drop here and here, and here and here. That's all you need. And then those will be in place. But tiny drops like that, you don't have to worry about frosting the glass. But I'm using the Edward pre-cut masks, and I tried these once before, and on my B24 monogram B24D build, and they're not an exact fit. So what I do is I cut them into 4s and set them to the edges, and then whatever isn't covered, I'll use tiny bits of tape here, and if there's some overlap because it's too big, well, that works great. But if you just try to put these on, they don't fit right. So there you have it. So the next will be the canopy glass and the aft gunner's glass, and then the ball turret. And then I'll be able to then turn my attention to the glass that I glued in place with white glue on the fuselage. I've got the next 3 clear parts masked. The clear parts, I mean the masking for the cockpit canopy went on really, really well. I cut up the first one and then tested the rest, and they all fit really well, so it really wasn't necessary to do what I did, but worked out okay. And here's the tail gunner's position. This one didn't fit very well, these little pieces, so I cut them up, and now they fit real well. You can see the overlap there, right there. That tells you that that mask was too big. And the forward nose piece, they give you the outlines, and then you got to fill in the rest. They say to use liquid mask. I don't like using liquid mask. Now down here I used, there were actually two of these. One is for the canopy that has the 350 cals coming out here, and that's the one I used here, so I had to cut it up to get it to fit right, but worked out okay. So now, and I used small pieces of masking tape, my 3M red labeled masking tape, to fill in these areas. And then what I'll do is I'll put piece of masking in here, and we'll go ahead and shoot it. Or I may just glue it in place and just put a little bit of tissue in there, in that hole. But of course, if I do that, can't get the 50 cal in there. So if I do glue this, I'll have to glue that 50 cal in place. And then I'll just put a tube over it, and it'll be fine. So yeah, it's looking good. I've got the upper turret and the ball turret completely masked, using the Edward pre-cut masks, and it came out pretty good. Now when you do the turret, the front I had to, it was probably my fault here, but I had to put this little piece of tape here to straighten that out. Don't forget to put some tape on the inside to seal the openings for the guns, otherwise when you airbrush it, it'll go right through. So when I airbrush this, I'll just put a large piece of double-faced tape down and put this right over it, and that'll seal it. The ball turret, I just need to put tiny pieces of tape there and there to seal those openings. But all the masking fit pretty good. So it came out good. Because of the way these are designed this year, I went ahead and glued this in place. There's some masking that goes on the underside here, but of course I can't do it. But other than that, it looks pretty good. So now I just need to do some masking on the fuselage for the clear parts and for the openings in the bomb bay and other areas, and away we go. So let's see how it looks when I get done with the assembled fuselage. I've got the model completely masked and all of the clear parts installed except for the ball turret and the upper turret. And so I used a lot of the Edward masks in combination with my own. All I have left to do now is going to just give it a alcohol cleaning, and we are ready to go ahead and prime it. I'm going to use flat gray as a primer. Here's the underside. And what I've done here is I've got covers on the machine guns to hold them in place. and I kind of scrunched the ends a little bit and had to push down on the tubing to get it to seat right, but that's so it won't fly off. The bomb bays are going to be almost all the way closed, partially open. And so once I get the gray and olive drab, then I got to tape off these areas and do a interior green here and here, and then the black boot de-icers, and then we can begin the finished process. Man, this thing's big. Begin the finished process. I keep hitting stuff of putting decals on it. And once I get this all primed with the flat gray, and I mix some flat white with the flat gray, and so it'll be a complete coat of that color, and then that'll be the underside coat. And then of course we'll have to put the cowlings on, but I'm going to airbrush those light gray separately. I'll tape the insides, mask them, and then stick them on here and mask the insides so they'll be attached once I'm ready to go ahead and mask for the olive drab. And I'll show you all of that as I proceed. So keep your fingers crossed, and we'll see how it looks. So I'm going to do the underside first, and so I will detach these parts here, and I'll put this piece, tape this piece on here to keep the weight off of this, and then we'll be good to go. So I just need to clean it with some alcohol, and then we'll be ready. Hey everybody, thanks for watching part 8, and stay tuned for part 9, where we do the airbrushing of the complete assembly and then prepare the surface for decaling. With that said, have a great evening. Don't forget to give us a thumbs up, subscribe to our channel, and happy scale modeling.